Welcome back, everyone. You just missed a really funny little opening number about how baby, he's growing out his beard. And his beard is starting to look absolutely snackerton sweet. So he's been Baberton sweet, Crankerton sweet, and now Snackerton sweet. I just gotta say, I'm really proud of you for this evolution.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You look delicious.
Oh, God.
I said a really good line
we
before we
forget.
started recording.
What was it?
That you are evolving from a snack to a full meal. That was a good one.
I feel like I'm going from a boy to a man.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
For real?
You're welcome.
Was it the beard?
Partially, probably.
Tell me about it.
I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this in past podcasts, but I feel like there are just certain things that like would make a girl into a woman and then a boy into a man. And I feel like it's just like full ownership of everything you are and everything you do, everything just you exude. And apparently that comes to facial hair for me. For now, I guess. We're trying it out.
Baby, I love it. But it's not just the facial hair. And that is actually what I'm excited to get into today, y'all. I want to bring us into the beautiful experience of Cameron James Hogan's evolution, his phoenix rising from the ashes over the last couple of weeks. And the main theme that I wanted to get into today, because I think it's super relatable for men and women and any high achievers, is this feeling of enoughness. So one core recurring theme that I've experienced with Cam is that he'll have like an incredible day. He'll go through and do a ton of incredibly high leverage things, whether it's having a meeting with an employee, meeting with a walk host, doing an interview, creating like a week worth of content, creating a newsletter, editing something, and working out and walking twice a day and putting a 150-pound sandbag on his chest and just sitting there and surrendering to the flow of life. And at the end of the day, he'll be like, I'm not doing enough. I'm like, what? And this has been a very unique thing to experience as the person who loves you most in the world, because it's such an inner journey that as much as I can reflect to you how much you are enough in all the different ways of me trying to communicate to your emotions and your body and your soul and your mind that you are enough and you're doing more than enough and everything's perfect, it has to come from you. And that's not something that I can, or nor would I want to rush. But I think bringing people into this enoughness conversation right now, when it's still a little bit tender and it feels like you've processed quite a lot of it already, but you're at this stabilization point, it feels that you're just now starting to consistently be like, that was a good day and I don't have the noise in my head. I can rest. And I just feel like you just started poking into those clouds. So I want to capture this moment in time. So where do you want to begin, baby?
Yeah, first off, that's just so incredibly powerful. I really am grateful for how you just articulated that. That's one thing. Another thing is, it's been funny how I feel like every time right before we record, you're like, we're going to make this episode about you. Like her favorite topic in the world for her and probably my mother, and those are the only two people, is about me and my own personal growth, whatever it may be.
Yes. My favorite topic.
Your favorite topic. Well, we can explore that. Yeah. I think one thing that's been huge for me recently that I feel as if is very true for a good portion of the population, like a huge archetype that makes up probably 20, 30% of everyone, is this feeling of what they're doing is never enough. And it's just that it's a feeling, right? It's not actually factual. And the same person who's literally doing nothing all day and sitting on the couch and watching Netflix and eating potato chips versus literally like the Fortune 500 CEO that is working 16-hour days, they both can have that same inner feeling of not doing enough. And I've always felt that in my life ever since I was a very young child. I feel like I just, in my childhood and just throughout college years and then being a young professional now, it's just, there isn't really a very clear understanding of what a full day of doing enough would ever look like. It felt like this elusive goal that never hit. And so sadly, what that meant was, despite all the major things that we've accomplished in so many different aspects of life, we get to the end of the day, and other than giving ourselves a pat on the back, we're giving ourselves almost like a shameful talking to
Mm.
of like, still not good enough. We got to do more tomorrow, or we got to do it in a different way tomorrow, whatever it may be. And that I think manifested in a lot of my life of me always trying to change up the routine of, am I meditating? Am I running? Am I getting straight to work? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I doing this and that? And there's, a whole subsection of the internet of just people talking about the morning routines, and as if that's the thing that makes you successful, if that's the thing that makes you fulfilled or makes you feel enough. And I just experimented with that ad nauseum, trying to fill this hole in myself for I think so long. And it's just become very clear that like nothing I do will ever be enough if that's the metric I give it. The only thing that will ever be enough for me is to realize that I don't become enough by doing more or doing a certain thing. I come enough by realizing that I don't need to do anything to be enough. And literally just me being in whatever form it may look like is enough. And now, of course, there are the more tangible things of responsibilities that we have, mortgage to pay, bills, whatever it may be, that people have, children, that is very much like we got to make sure everyone's doing well this month. And that can be a barometer of being enough. But sadly, so many of us, especially in, a developed nation, have come to the point where consistently every single month or probably entirely their life, they're able to kind of hit those benchmarks, either just enough or by a long shot. But that feeling of survival is still very much there. It's almost as if every day it feels like you're starving and you must go hunt something now. You must, slay the dragon today. You must do the absolute most or else you're going to die. That's really how it feels in the body sometimes. And despite having a very abundant, very, I would say, privileged life so far, we joke all the time that I've had probably one of the easiest lives ever. But the funny thing is, despite all external things being okay, that doesn't mean the internal beingness is equated to actual reality. And I've had that dissonance for all of my life, which always made me never fully present, never fully grateful for who I was and what I've accomplished in the past, or simply just the quality of my character. It always felt like I was striving for that extra, and sometimes felt like 80%, and then now at times, not too long ago, I felt like an extra 10%, whatever it may be, that are the things your mind can rationalize as you're still not good enough in so far. And it's been really, honestly, a painful process for me for the past, 26 years of my life to recognize that this way that I have told myself is the way to finally feel enough. It's the wrong way. It's never going to come from doing. It's only going to come from being. And that being is just the embodiment of understanding that there is no logical, reasonable thing that would make me enough. It's an inner feeling that I must give to myself. And to some extent, I feel like I've known this for a long time. I think it's very common, especially nowadays in the culture and spirituality and all that. It's like the answers are within. It all comes from within. It's like, yes, I understand that. And I'm like 87% there. But that last 13%, it doesn't even feel like it's rational anymore, but it's just like something within my being isn't allowing me to feel enough, to feel stable, to feel safe and comfortable. And it's really taken me, along with pretty much, I would say, one of the best coaches on the planet, being you, who's not even professionally a coach, but just your ability to look at yourself, your ability to look at others and help them. Just like I've done for you, you've just held my hand along the way with a level of unconditional love, where you see me some days accomplish everything, and at the end of the day, be like almost depressed to the point of like, I didn't do enough. And then other days, because I'm so shameful, because I'm so in the mud, in the dirt about what I didn't do. The next day, it manifests in me not doing anything, and then still having that same feeling, even more so of I'm not doing enough. And it's like this never ending roller coaster of not enoughness that I know for the longest time caused me to, in all ways of life, move from a level of impatience that doesn't need to happen. It's like I'm going for a stroll in the neighborhood, but I'm going at a lot faster pace than I need to be. If someone was watching you, they'd be thinking that you're trying to get somewhere fast, or like you're trying to become a record speed walker, whatever it may be. There's that part. There's not able to eat a meal from a place of truly enjoying it. You're kind of rushing through it. You're having an interaction, whether it's with family or friends or people you genuinely love the company of, and you're rushing through it quickly. It comes through in every aspect of life. And until it's finally faced, it's robbing you of the most important part of life, and that is enjoying the present moment. Because in the home, in the house of the present moment, that is where joy, laughter, our ability to feel fulfilled, everything that makes life worth living, it lives in that home of fulfillment. But if you're at that pace of always looking ahead, always trying to get to the future, you're not able to enjoy the day. And I think most people have spent their entire lives in that state, at least this archetype of person. And they don't recognize it until the day they die, probably. And it's been really, really cool for what has been feeling like just my path and what I'm meant to walk and how I'm meant to exist and serve others. It was meant for me to learn this at 26, which for some may feel super young, but for me, it's like 26 years of that, I guess, mind virus has been difficult. But I'm really getting to the point to where I realize, like, thankfully, so much help from you. If I do nothing all day, that's okay. If I'm just crushing everything like I have today so far, such a productive, filling day, that's also okay. It's also perfect. There is no bare minimum that I need to do or be. It's just allowing and surrendering to the day as a whole and not putting any story on it, which has been huge for me to get to the point where I'm kind of ready to do so. But from that place, I already feel like, even if I'm not fully there, I'm really just integrating that new embodiment, I guess. I'm really finally able to allow myself to breathe more, it feels. Literally, like in the body, allow myself to breathe at a deeper level, slower. Allow the stomach to rest. It's wild how it affects everything in your life. But I'm getting to the point where I'm just eradicating all that right now, and it feels like I'm a completely different person.
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There's so many things I could ask you now, but I'm curious if you could bring us into teenage Cam's experience of this feeling. And I'd like to understand it at different points of your life. Like, can you bring me into what this felt like when you were younger?
Yeah, I think the best way to describe how it felt like would be just the inner dialogue, right? And so if we think about from the moment we wake up in the morning, it's never the feeling of, oh, look outside, the weather's beautiful.
Right.
Let me go stand in the grass. Let me stretch. Let me just enjoy this slow morning. It's going to be amazing. The first thing in the morning was, all right, got to get up. I woke up this time for a reason because I want to go to the gym. I got to go to the gym. Let's go to the gym now. Get in the car. All right, what do I need? I need some water. I need some type of caffeine because I'm barely making it. Let me grab that. Do this. Let me do that. Go to the gym. Got to do this workout, but I do it fast. And I got to be looking at all of the timings that it would take for me to lift this amount of weight. I got to make sure I do this exact amount. Do this and that. It's that type of voice for everything. It's like, okay, I got to rush home. I don't have that much time. I allotted just enough time to take a quick shower and a quick bite to eat. Then we go. Even me hearing myself say this, I feel the anxiety. I feel the heart beating faster.
Mm.
But that was, I feel as if for so long, the default. And I mean, literally, and it's so funny because it's not a matter of, again, external reality. Because for the past year and a half, especially ever since we moved in this house, we live in the chill suburbs. Everything's handled. We're both entrepreneurs. That means, and we're self-paced. That means we can wake up when we want, we can go to sleep when we want, eat when we want, where we want, how we want. Like, money is good. Everything is good and abundant. It literally feels like it's peak human experience. We live in 2025. We get anything delivered to our house immediately. The internet, all these things. Despite it feeling like the best the human experience can get in America, of all countries, I still wouldn't allow myself to embrace that and enjoy that.
Mm.
It's like no amount of freedom will ever make you feel as if you can let go. But it's funny because that's why I really feel that freedom is such a huge characteristic of not only people in America, but just in general around the world. It's like they want to embody a life of freedom. But what I've learned for myself recently is I bought into the idea of freedom, thinking unconsciously that it would free me from that voice in my head.
Mm.
Because there is, of course, some part of it when you make a certain amount of money and you kind of rise above survival to whatever extent that may be. And now you have somewhat freedom, especially if you work for yourself, whatever it may be. But just because the external is now different doesn't mean the internal is. And so my whole life, despite having a very abundant, freeing life, I wasn't free within here. And so because of that, I was always kind of racing to do the thing because I realized, well, once I finally do all these things that I've been telling myself I need to do, then at that point, I can rest. I can chill. I'll be free from this voice in my head. And it took me getting to the absolute, what felt like peak of how my life could be and realizing that voice is still there. That makes me realize I really got to try a new method.
Mm.
And that method has looked a lot like just intentionally laying down for the entire afternoon and not putting any story around it and not forcing myself to be any type of way other than that in that moment. It allowed for me to kind of let go of needing any type of morning routine and realize if I wake up and I just want to stare at the sun, go for a nice walk all morning, I can make that work. The business isn't going to fail. Everything's not going to crash and burn. If I want to do that, I can. If I want to run and go to the gym and do all the other doing things, great. But it will only come from a place of joy and love, what my mind and body really want in that moment. Not necessarily what I feel like I have to do or should do. So as a teenager, it was very much like that for everything. You know, you're going to school, you're thinking, all right, what are those girls thinking of me right now? Okay, got to stand up a little straighter. Got to be flexing as I go to class. There's, did I get the homework done? Oh crap, no, I didn't. Can I talk to this person about it? Whatever, like all that, just all the time for everything, because all those things that I'm mentioning is I feel like I needed those boxes checked to feel enough. I needed to be approved by teachers, by family, by girls, by friends, by teammates. And then ways of doing that would be to get great grades. That's why the homework had so much emphasis, or the exams or whatever it may be, or how I looked or whatever it may be. And so that just came into play in my teenage years and just evolved into the adulting things, I guess, the statuses of that and the everything else that kind of goes into that world of what we feel as if we need to be. And it's really taken me to understand that with that voice in my head, nothing will ever be enough for it.
Mm.
And that's a game I just no longer want to play. And removing myself, like physically removing myself from the groups of people that are still in that world deeply.
Wow.
And that includes family members, that includes friends, that includes a lot of people. Again, it's a huge archetype of society. And that's what I needed. I don't think anyone and everyone needs that. But I know from my own ability to step away from that, I needed to not be around people that are still deeply in that world. Because what I think I've noticed by myself is when I'm around people that are in there, I take on that belief. It's like I take on the energy. So that was huge for me. But yeah, this has been a process of unraveling this ever since I met you, it feels, the past 2 years. You really pointed it out in me. And now I just feel so much more free. But in truly what freedom really means. Not what I thought I meant. Not the external, but the internal. And it's not 100% perfect. And I feel a little bit every single morning. But I just got to keep it at bay. And oftentimes do the opposite of what it says to do.
Right.
It's always, it's never telling me to like be quiet and sit in solitude. It's always telling me like, I need to answer this email.
It's not like, you gotta go hurry and meditate right now.
Yeah, it's never thing to like clear the mind,
Yeah.
So doing the opposite of that, but also communicating that voice in like a loving way.
Could you
That's been
imagine if
huge.
that voice was like, you need to go have a great day by walking around the neighborhood slowly.
For real.
It's like, why can't it say that?
For real.
It's like, that would actually be great.
100%.
But what if it could?
I think it could. Well, I don't think it would say you need, but it'll be like, maybe you would enjoy.
Yeah, because the intuitive voice is so quiet and gentle.
It's unconditionally loving.
It sounds like, it's like, you know, it'd be nice right now. A bath. And you're
Literally.
like, yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like somebody being like looking at you. I mean, like, you know what would slap right now? It's like a little high.
Yeah.
That's how my intuition sounds these
100%.
days. Does yours sound similar?
100%. Yeah, exact same way.
Just a vibey, like
Yeah.
Bob Dylan character.
And it's also the same to where they, when you're around certain people,
Yeah.
it'll quickly tell you something about them.
Right.
It's
like, nah.
Yeah, it'll
And
be
you're
like, stay away from that dude. I'm like,
right. Look
okay.
away. And you're like,
but then you're like, oh, well, they're, a certain status and I really want to, whatever, like your mind will wrap stories around. But it's always a quick, chill, subtle, calm voice that is your intuition.
Yeah.
And now when we remove the other voice, we can just follow intuition all day. And that's what they say, follow intuition. And then it'll guide you through life in a way that deeply serves you.
Yeah.
So that's just been a big journey for me, just quieting the voice in my head that always wanted me to do more and go faster, and really embrace that there's nothing that I need to do. There's nothing I need to accomplish. Like if I die today, that's okay. Or at least the work I've done so far, if that's all I'll ever do again, and I'm just meant to meditate on a hill the rest of my life, I'm at peace with that. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But getting to the point where you're at peace with that, it feels very liberating.
It's amazing. As you were speaking, I was reminded of a time when we first met where Cam and I have always been very philosophical. Literally, our first conversation ever was about the map of consciousness in Lizard Yoga. And we met there. He struck up a conversation with me, and we spent like 3.5 hours talking about consciousness. And so our relationship has always been like so deep, and we just see things, and he sees things very clearly in me, and I see them in him. And we just, like we said before, like there's no getting away with anything in this household. It's like you got 2 laser beams looking through everything, and we're going to talk about it. And I remember in the beginning of our relationship, it was pretty clear that you had a hard time resting. And that even if it was like, I remember I'd be like, I could sense this. I'd be like, what if you just went and laid down like 20 minutes? And you'd be like, like the tantrum would come out, and it'd be like, I don't need that. And it's like the ego voice comes, it's like, it's a waste of time. And it was like either like kind of nonchalant, like, nah, I don't need that. I don't need to go lay down. What am I? I'm a powerful big man. I don't lay, that kind of a voice. And then now just seeing how far you've come just in that one area has been amazing. Now you're the first person to say, I'm going to go lay down. I'm just gonna go and clonk in my room. I'm gonna put on some nice relaxing music. I'm gonna put my silk eye mask on under my coveys. Don't disturb me. I'll be in here for 2.5 hours. And it's like, you're the first person to do that now. And I just want you to recognize how far you've come, because that was such a sticking point in the beginning for you. You didn't know how to rest. You didn't know how to rest. Think about that.
Yeah.
And think about how far you've come from then to now. Do you feel progress in that area? Does your body
In the current
feel
moment,
that?
it doesn't feel that way because all I feel is just like no constriction and no pain and just flow in the body,
Yeah.
like physically in all ways. And so I don't feel how I used to feel unless I really try to reflect on the past in that way. But when I'm reflecting, it's like, yeah, wow, I could barely even sit down. I feel like my heart rate per minute was probably much faster. And it's funny how you think that mode hypothetically would make you more productive because that would be the reason for it, right? But what I've noticed is that because that mode also is coupled with shame and guilt and anger toward yourself, and oftentimes you get so frustrated you just throw up your hands like apathy, because you're forcing yourself to live a certain way when your whole being does not want to live that way. Those emotions happen, which are always the thing that kind of leads to 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And the removal of that voice has led to what feels like to be only steps forward. And that is such a game changer. Like, I get more things done now when I prioritize napping, staring at the wall, like meditation.
You literally do
Like-
stare at the
Like, do
you
that
stare
for a
out
while.
the window.
Stare at the window for a while.
It's the
That's
best.
more beautiful. But just like stuff that is the opposite of what people would call productive, the more I've sprinkled into my life, the 10x more productive I've been than other times. Because it gives me so much more clarity. It gives me the ability to have that mind be quiet, which is what causes so much confusion, second guessing with every decision in life, big or small. And so my being feels different in that way, where the voice just feels so minimal, if not non-existent altogether most days. And that is just, I mean, the biggest game changer ever. It's been really, really cool. And really just becoming at peace. Like, today's been super productive and will probably continue to be. But then if tomorrow I'm just like, no, going for a long hike in the morning, then I'm napping in the afternoon, so be it. Now, thankfully, we have a schedule to do so.
Right.
That's conducive with our energy that most people currently don't have, even though I think they'll be changing soon. But just that trust that I can take off a random Tuesday and everything's going to be okay.
Well, you know,
It's
it's
huge.
funny. Most people can do that.
Yeah,
I
they
think
can.
a lot of people who listen to this show could take off a random Tuesday. That is very within the realm. Like, if you had a job like I had at Meta, everyone has PTO. Doesn't matter really what your function is. Most functions have PTO, and you could easily just say, you know what, I woke up and it's a nope, and I'm just gonna take the day off. I'm gonna take a sick day, and just allow yourself to do that. Like, it's funny where it's like we have this story that, oh, well, only entrepreneurs can do this, and that must be nice because I'm not like that. But I don't think that's true.
I agree.
Like, during my last days at Meta, honestly, through my whole time at Meta, I had a really, in the last 3.5 years, I really reformed my relationship to rest and allowed myself to take more time off than I ever had before. I remember I took all of my PTO and clumped it together to take an entire month off, because I was like, I just want to take a month off. Like, I don't want like little drip feeds of like one random day, like once a year. I want to just take a whole entire month off and give myself that space. It was like the most creative month. I think the month I did that, I started writing again online. It was somewhere around 2023. And I started writing really consistently, and my account started growing. And it was in 1 month that I took off that's so much open for me because I had this space.
That's the big thing. And I feel like a lot of people, they don't take off any time because they hypothetically think they do something like that and go to a trip to Europe or whatever. Or they're like, oh, I'm just going to cash them in at the end of the year for more money, whatever that may be, whatever
Mm,
their compensation plan may be. But sadly, they're always kind of prolonging that space.
right.
And the sad thing is when people, let's say if they do muster up the courage to take off that Tuesday, it's immediately spent doing things to check out.
Yeah.
It's like you're so out of reality, so out of the present moment, that giving yourself space actually scares you. And so even if you did have the courage to take off that Tuesday, you're just gonna be binge watching Netflix the whole time. Or like calling someone
Mm,
who you don't really need to be calling for 3 hours, or doing a bunch of BS and getting your car registration renewed, whatever
that's
it may
very
be.
true.
It's like you spend it doing things that like don't actually benefit you. It's going against what days off are actually meant to be.
It's not a true day off.
100%. It's your mind still just as active, and actually it's so much in the habit of being that active that it will fill things to match the level of stress that it
Mm,
had the day before when it was working. And this also goes for people that like are retired, and we know
yes.
plenty of them.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Most of our family,
Yeah.
even if they, I said that straight to the camera. That's pretty
Hello.
rough. That's pretty rough. It's like even when you're retired, you have a certain level of stress that you're used to,
Yeah.
and time needs to be filled. And there's definitely something to staying productive, and I'm all for that. But the stress part doesn't need to be there. You're retired. That's what the whole point is, right? But they're used to a certain stress in their life, and they'll find a way to fill it.
Yes.
And so they'll put in a bunch of useless stuff
Just to stress themselves out.
just to like, they'll be arguing with someone on the phone about their bill that costs $70 or less oftentimes, or they'll make a big deal out of going to get groceries that like a much bigger fiasco than needs to be. Like they're not in the mode to simplify their life. They want to make it as complex as it felt in their nervous system when they were working. And they never give themselves a chance to just be and vibe. And I know that firsthand. I was doing that this entire time. I've learned it
Yeah.
from society, from so many people. And I wish I can emphasize enough how much better the quality of life becomes when you allow yourself to finally be, when you allow yourself to rest, when you allow yourself to recognize that there's nothing you need to do anymore. And yeah, it's just been really, really big for me. And I immediately see everything it's already unlocking in terms of that extra level of happiness as I was looking for. It wasn't coming from doing
Mm,
more. It was coming from allowing myself to realize I don't have to be any certain way for anyone. Um, Let myself just chill and relax and enjoy every day of life, the present moment. So I've heard it a lot recently online that I really, really love. It's like, other than measuring your day by how productive you've been, measure your day by how present you are. And ever since I've been able to really take that to heart and begin embodying that, that has been, I mean, the greatest increase in my quality of life I ever could have imagined.
as you were saying that, I got this visual of this beautiful movie that Cam and I watched. I believe it was called About Time. And remember, it was about a time traveler who had like these gifts in his family that he could go into this cupboard and then go back in time to any point in his life. And his dad told him, like, oh, you want to know my favorite trick is you actually live a day and then go and live that day again, but really look around the second time. And then he started doing that. So he would live a day and then he'd go back and live the day. And then over time, he was like, I realized that I didn't have to live it twice if I just lived it right the first time. If I just looked around and slowed down and noticed and was present the first time, I don't have to live the day twice. I already got the juice out of the day.
Yeah, and the first time when he discovered the time traveling, he'd go back to try to change everything.
Yes.
Right? Like that's what I feel like is stemming from what I'm talking about. It's like you feel it way in the day because you realize, oh, it's not as perfect as it could be. I wish I can go back and redo it, as if that would solve it all. But at the end of the movie, he realizes that no matter how much he tries to change it, he's still feeling the exact same way. And actually, it only would make things worse. And so I realized, oh, the whole point is just to be present and embrace every aspect of life every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a fantastic reference to that.
And not to give another movie reference. Look at us giving so many movie
look at us.
references. But then I got this visual of the movie Groundhog's Day, which was so beautiful. I highly recommend these two movies, guys. We have this prompt with ChatGPT around like we really want to understand the human condition as if we were aliens, and understand like what the enlightening and awakening arc is in humans. And it gives these really interesting movies. I mean, really fantastic ones. And these are two. The Truman Show is another one of our favorites. But Groundhog's Day is coming to me in this moment because it's so subtle. If you watch the movie, like, I mean, if I watched the movie 5 years ago, I would have missed like all of the beautiful subtleties of it. But it's basically this guy who is a news reporter, and he's like kind of angry and like very nihilistic, and he doesn't want to be even doing this story because he wants to be like a bigger news anchor. But he goes out and he does the story, and it's on the groundhog for Groundhog's Day. So he has this big day that's like kind of a total mess, and he like steps in a puddle, and like a guy from high school sees him and is like, "Hey, my guy, you don't want to be my insurance client?" And just like all the nightmare fuel that you could imagine in your day. And then he goes to bed, wakes up, and it's the same exact day over and over again, like thousands of times. He lives the same day. And you watch as he, like, at first, just like Cam said, there's a tendency to like, okay, how do I get the best possible outcome for myself? How do I get the best out of this day for me? It's selfish. So he's like trying to like manipulate this woman to fall in love with him. And then every time it gets to like the end of the night, right when he goes in for a kiss, she slaps him. Every time slaps him. And he just keeps replaying the day for like hundreds of days just to get this woman's affection. And then eventually he gives up kind of, and then she likes him because now he doesn't care anymore. He's detached.
And then what does he start doing?
And then
he
what
just
does he
starts
start doing?
Serving others. He's
and
like,
then the crescendo of it was after he gave up his selfish goal of like having sex with some lady and like making money or robbing a bank and like being able to do anything he wants in this little small town, he says, you know what? Like, well, this is a little dark, but he tries to kill himself.
Yeah. Like what's the point of life?
Like he goes into a peak selfishness and then nihilism. Like, why am I here? I want to die. And just like in the most creative ways ever, dozens of times kills himself. Like in this life. And then every time he does, he wakes back up and is like, oh my God, it's never going to end. And then enough times of him doing that, of him dying, he finally lives a day where his one goal, because he learned so much about everyone in this town at this point after living this day so many times, was to make it their best day ever. So he like goes to the cafe, saves this guy who's choking on a meatball. He like helps this little old lady like get across a puddle so her feet don't get wet. He introduces this couple who then gets married. He does like all these extravagant things. He's like on the stage singing and dancing. He learns how to play piano just so that he can have this like amazing number and entertain everyone. And he goes to this party at the end of the day. And everyone's like, oh my God, this guy, he's the best guy ever. He just is, can you believe him? How do you know him? And everyone just in love with him, this guy. And then the woman he was trying to get to like him finally liked him back because he poured so much of himself into making the lives of others better. He was just an empty vessel that allowed light to come through, just shine like the sun onto everyone. And then he didn't care. He wasn't in it for himself anymore. Every bit of selfishness was gone. And he just transcended his own selfish desires. And then everything flooded towards him. And it reminds me so much of that.
He was just present.
He was just present. He was not only present, but he was like, how do I serve today? Not how do I serve myself, but how do I show up and make this the best day ever for whoever I come into contact with? And why I'm mentioning this, now I know why, is I'm getting this visual of you this morning waving at that woman. Because when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, what does that remind me of? So this morning, this is very small, but but Cam was like, oh, I went on this long walk today. I was really feeling great. And then from a very long distance, I saw this older woman, and I just like Forrest Gumped waved at her. It was like, hi, like really enthusiastically. And I could tell it really meant something to her. And it's like, that's that.
100%.
Like we have the opportunity to uplift people's spirits and make people's days by transcending our own like agenda or desire, whatever we want to get out of the thing, or control, or trying to like hedge an outcome. By just simply being present, everything unfolds.
Yeah, but what is the present moment? It's the absence of anything going on in the mind that's putting us in different directions. And that mind is always telling us things about ourselves we need to improve oftentimes or do better. And so to be fully present, by default, you're now no longer caring about yourself to some extent. And that's what you just shared in these movies that make it so fantastic. And now the only thing you notice in the present moment is how beautiful everything is, how great it all is happening, and how you can serve others. It's like you feel called to in the moment to stand up, or for me to wave at that woman, whatever it may be. It just comes through you in that present moment because you're not thinking about it. And so that was just, yeah, that's huge. And that was a big shift, I feel. It feels like you understood this quicker than I did on our respective journeys, I'd say. But it feels like it's also been huge for you recently in many different ways. And one thing I've noticed in you is a whole lot less urgency.
Oh, thank God. Urgency was we were just talking about this. Urgency was my final boss. I mean, urgency was so I was telling Cam the other day, like it felt like I didn't know what tasks were important, what tasks were urgent, what tasks could be done 2 weeks from now. Like everything just needed to be done right now. And I was stuck in this loop of just low leverage things because I didn't know how to differentiate in my body what was urgent and what was not urgent. And I recognize that because Cam lovingly pointed out to me many times that when the smallest thing would go wrong, all of a sudden it would be almost like you're ringing an alarm bell, like, oh my God, code red, we're going to die. And it feels so real when you have conditioning around urgency, or you had family members who were very stressed out and really did not like surprises or things not going the way that they expect them to. And so you pick up that energy of stress that anytime something is not going the way that you planned, you're going to die. Like that's what the body learns, especially if you had a parent who has carried a lot of stressful energy, a lot of control energy, needing things to be a certain way. If, you were to do something that wasn't up to their standard, they like kind of blow up or shame you or make you feel bad about how you did things, but you're just trying to help. If any of that resonates with you, you probably have some level of an urgency wound similar to how I did. And I wonder, as I'm saying this, do you relate to urgency, or is it more just impatience that you felt in your system? What did it feel like to you?
It felt more like impatience than urgency.
Like let's not waste time.
Yeah.
Is that what, if I give it a sentence,
100%.
What would the sentence be?
Let's not waste time to be perfect.
Okay.
And you're only valuing things in an unfair way, to say the least. Like, let's not waste time by just relaxing and enjoying the sunset. We could be doing something else. That's not necessarily urgency.
Right.
But it is just valuing certain behaviors and experiences over others to an extreme degree for the sake of an equation of productivity.
Yeah.
So that is more of an impatience, it feels, because you're just waiting. You're anxiously waiting to get to this next state because this current state isn't worth your time, to say the least. And you've heard me say that so many times.
Yeah.
And there are things that are very true, like not worth your time if you know how much your time is worth, and little tasks here and little mundane things. It's 100% true. But when you also feel that way about, how long you're waiting for your kids to finish up at the park,
Right.
that's probably not, the right thing.
Right.
I don't know if I call that urgency. That's just like a dissonance in embracing the present moment, saying some things are much better than others. So I feel like I had that a lot more. And that's been something I've really had to focus on. That's why at the end of the day, I never really felt like enough. It wasn't really a matter of the speed of it. It was a matter of the type of things I was doing or lack thereof. Um, but yeah, it
Hmm.
feels like yours was definitely, I would say, more urgency of it must happen right now or else it's not going to happen and I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And we see this when it comes to posting. If you have an idea for a tweet, you literally run out of the room,
To do it.
go like put your head in the closet, and
I would.
4 hours meticulously write out 2 paragraphs.
Okay, it wasn't 2 paragraphs.
Sometimes.
It was okay, maybe. No, it was always it was a longer piece, but I never thought it was going to be that long. I always thought it was going to be quick because I had no concept of time because
Yeah.
that's what urgency does. It makes everything feel like it needs to happen right now. And so you have no sense of prioritization around what's worth your time because everything's worth your time when you have an urgency wound.
100%.
And that's why you don't get anywhere.
Yeah, because everything is like needs to happen now.
Right.
But if you just look at it objectively, it's like, oh, that doesn't need to happen.
Right.
It has no level of urgency and most of it no level of importance. Why is it, so much on my awareness, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting what you were saying actually around the impatience wound, around feeling like this isn't worth my time. This isn't productive. This isn't in the category of things that I've deemed worthy of my attention, which happens to be like all of the things that put you in doing. Isn't it funny how it's like exercise? Okay, that goes in the good category. Going to work, good category. Making money,
Emails.
good category.
Exactly.
Emails, good category. It's like anything that gives you like a dopamine spike of like, I did something.
What's not
Good
in that category?
category.
I remember being in Bali, the most beautiful sunsets in the world. Never fully was able to enjoy them.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Just being at the beach, or just enjoying an incredibly slow ride through the mountains on a motorcycle. Like, I've had those moments, but I've never allowed myself to fully embrace them because of this, because I didn't deem them to be important. And I feel like people around me kind of noticed that I had some block there because they had been spending their lives to try to get to the point where they can have those moments, and they feel like they're embracing them quite fully. But they noticed quickly in myself that I didn't have the space or the understanding that those are moments that are really worth fully embracing and not just to be skipped over.
Mm.
It reminds me of another movie. It's like, was it Click or whatever it was?
Oh, with the
Adam Sandler.
remote?
We had the remote and he could fast forward, he can rewind, he can do all that. You kind of realize at the end that nothing is worth fast forwarding. That's really the ultimate lesson. Like, there's nothing to fast forward about. The only thing you'd ever want to do is just hit play and live that life.
Wow.
So that's just what I've learned. I've thrown the remote away pretty much. It's like
Wow.
living in this reality now fully.
That is so amazing. Yeah. It was interesting because as you were talking about impatience and feeling like, there's always kind of a next thing on the list. It's like kind of like you're living in a to-do list. Does that resonate?
That's exactly the good way to put it.
Yeah, like you're like living in a to-do list. And so it's like very methodical. Like I wake up, what time is it? I have 22 minutes to get ready. Now I go shave. Now I go shower. Now I go put my shirt on. Now I go get my socks. And it's like literally just going, like the narration would be as if you watched a movie scene and just had like, what is that called? Like disability assistants narrate exactly what you're seeing.
It's like training a robot.
Right. It's like you literally
you must do this.
Like when a blind person watches a movie and they put that like control on that just narrates exactly what is being seen. It's like that's what I feel maybe was in your head, was just like, okay, this is the next thing. This is the next thing, next thing, next thing. And it's never like that voice never says like, oh, wow, this is so nice. This tastes amazing. It doesn't ever say anything like that. It just is like, eat next bite.
Seriously. It's like, what are you going to do after this?
Right. Exactly. Or like check your phone into text messages. It's just always taking you out of the real present moment and the real pleasure of the present moment. Like I feel like as you were talking, I was like, what's missing from that? Pleasure. The ability to receive the sensation of the present. and just to be there and be like, oh my God, like this is incredible, because you can't feel full pleasure if you're not fully present.
Exactly.
Wow. That just came to me like so strongly as you were talking. Wow. And I thought to myself too, do you think that maybe why you had a hard time resting is because at the end of the day, the to-do list resets, and then the next day to-do list is in your mind right before you go to sleep, and it
Exactly.
feels like you're behind?
Exactly. There's never, and this is something you really helped me with, to have somewhat of like a ceremonial
Closing.
I'm done today.
Yeah.
Like closing, we have like a planner now that really helps us. And so closing that journal, you know, we that's the first thing we start with in the morning. That has a list of stuff we got to do, or not got to do, but get to do, I guess. That's another good way to frame it. You know, as the affirmations, the gratitudes, whatever it may be, your schedule. And so ending the day with that too, and making it more of a ceremony, like I'm done, letting my mind and body just check out and be like, the work day is done.
Yeah.
I can now just vibe and do whatever feels right for me. And that does not include Slack, spreadsheets, emails. That includes dancing in the living room with you, you know, having some good food, listening to great music, watching a movie, Bob Marley, and just enjoying life, you know. And so that's been huge for me. There's been those very tactical things that really help me with understanding the best way to go upon the day while still living in this world. You know, I'm not living on a mountaintop, like we said. Like I'm trying to run companies here and do amazing things. And so finding that balance over the past 2 weeks, ever since I've really let go of the judge, if you want to call it that, that's been in my mind for so long, has been a really fun, enjoyable process.
And I want to share with everybody this insight because I really feel it's made a huge difference for me. I didn't have I didn't do enough today as much as Cam did. I feel like that was just very embedded in his system. For me, it was more so like fight or flight around like something going wrong would just be very destabilizing. It almost felt like more like panic, whereas Cam's feels like low grade anxiety through the day. But mine would be like, I'm vibing. I made a typo in my tweet. Everything's going to go wrong now. You know, it'd be like, it
literally
was
like
that. It was like that.
Red alert. I must go back to not only my phone, but like desktop.
Delete it right now.
Delete it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just to give you a sense, I mean, and it was very like herky jerky. Like I feel like Cam's was more kind of like stable of anxiety, and mine was like, yeah. And then I like go on this roller coaster of like panic, and then I go down off the roller coaster and I'd be fine then, and then it would go back up. It more felt like a roller coaster for me, and thankfully it wasn't like too often through the day. It was maybe like 3. There wasn't more than 3, was it?
What times that happens?
Yeah, for me.
Depends on the day. Like you'd have seasons, at least once a day.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes it's like 4 or 5.
Damn.
But yeah, it was just like
That's
these very abrupt, like
mood shifts.
Not only you, but everything around you is now done because this one thing must be like handled now.
Yeah, you're right.
Thankfully, like thankfully you knew that this was happening.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's hard to face on others, but you made sure you weren't a burden to others, which was huge. Because others don't have that. Others think everyone now must participate in my chosen abrupt change in action. You were always like, I'm going to go away now and handle this by myself. It was very self-contained, but it robbed others of being in your presence, and it robbed you of the present moment.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad.
Right.
Like I don't see that in you like at all anymore.
Oh, thank God.
Which is awesome.
It's a very, I will say, very destabilizing way to be. And I mean, Cam and I are both giving you 2 different expressions of Cam is more impatience and mine was more this urgency, kind of life or death feeling. And so if you resonate with either of us on this and you see yourself more in me, I just feel called to say that it makes me emotional because I recognize, and I told actually Cam about this the other day, and I felt very emotional about it back when I said it, but there were times when I was younger where I just didn't really understand the impact that was having on people. And I had moments. There was this one girl in college I was quite close to. I started this project called the Humans of UF. I went to University of Florida, and if you're familiar with the Humans of New York project, you just go up to strangers and you interview them and you put it online. And she was my she basically was like my apprentice. Like she found me and was like, I really want to learn how you do this and help you. And she was awesome. And we became such good friends. But at that time, I got involved in student government, and I was running like an insurgent political party, and I ended up winning. And it's a story for another time. It's pretty epic, actually. But it caused a lot of dysregulation in me because I was being like followed, and it was so extreme that like anytime I would go somewhere and be seen with like a girl in a sorority that was very political, the girl would get a call being like, "Are you with L Beecher right now?" Like there was just always eyes on me, and there was like millions of dollars at stake. This is like a whole nother part of my lore that I've never talked about on this podcast, but I just share this because it was a very fearful time for me. And because there was so much latent stress and fear, and I was in college and I was like a sophomore, junior at this time. Unfortunately, anytime something would happen or go quote unquote wrong, I just know now because I'm more aware of myself that that was really difficult for people around me. And it's like a volcano erupting. And I recognize now why certain people had to pull back from me. Because that specific girl, she kind of just slow faded from me. And it was so confusing because, we'd have these great moments because when I'm in a great mood, the sun is shining. But when I'm not in a good mood, it's hard. It's like weathering a storm, a really dark storm. And I wasn't even aware of how I was having that impact on people. So when she had actually the courage to have a conversation with me and say like, I need space from you. Like I don't feel like this relationship is supportive for me right now. And it was at the exact time I was in quite a dark place because of everything I was going through and co-creating as well. I was not a victim of it. I was also choosing it in every moment. But I was completely unconscious to how my emotions were coming up and how I was my panic and my emotional swings were very destabilizing for the people around me and my friends and everybody. So I feel like if you relate to me as I'm saying this, be gentle with yourself because I did not really know back then how much of an impact that this was having on people. And I feel bad about it. It doesn't make me feel good. It really doesn't. And I feel really sorry for a lot of people who I didn't understand what they were saying to me at the time. I didn't understand that they were saying, I cannot like withstand your emotional swings because it's really like, most of your relationship with someone, it feels really good. But when that person's not in a good place, it just feels like a seismic wave. And I think a lot of people, if you do relate with me and relate to me and you can see yourself in this, I just want you to, number one, be gentle with yourself. Number two, forgive yourself. And number three, maybe just recognize that if you do relate to this, you're having an impact on people that you may not be able to see with your eyes. And I know that that's not an easy way to live. But where I've gotten to it is like I take responsibility for my state now. It's on me to be so aware of my state and aware of going on social media drops me into panic. Therefore, maybe I should not go on social media. And eliminating that from my life has made me incredibly peaceful and joyful the whole day. And now I don't ever really have moments like Cam said, instead of 4 or 5 a day, I don't have moments where this is happening at all because I've become so aware of the things that cause panic in me and I've systematically eliminated them. for the sake of everyone around me. So I just felt called to share that because I feel like there's a part of this that's so painful for the people around you. And, you know, for you, it may feel like the people around you felt rushed, or the people around you felt like they weren't moving fast enough, or that they had to be a certain way or go your pace, or else they were like not good enough. Or I wonder how people felt around that energy for you. But I can look back into my past and I see these pockets of people who were just trying to lovingly communicate to me that like they couldn't withstand the emotional storms. And I didn't have the eyes to see it. I just like, I took it hard, and I took it to mean something about me and how I was like, oh, you know, what did I do to this person when I do this person? And it's like, it's not even anything you did. It's like the wounds you didn't heal are causing a maelstrom of stress and panic on everyone around you. So anyway, I didn't expect to share that, but I do feel it's super important because every time I do reflect back on those times where I wasn't aware of how powerful my emotions were, I just cry and I feel a lot of just apologetic energy, and also at the same time forgiveness for both myself and the other person. Because I understand now, looking back, why they said those things to me. And I didn't have the eyes to see it at the time. But now, with spaciousness and inner work out the wazoo, I'm able to actually go back to those confusing moments of my life where I was like, why did that person say that to me? Why did they drift away? And be like, oh, that's obvious now. So
Thank you for sharing that.
thank you for listening.
Yeah, that's not an easy realization to come to. And I feel like that's a big reason why people avoid it. But sadly, I feel a huge part of human connection right now is people not being able to have the awareness of understanding when people consistently come and then oftentimes quickly go in their life.
Yeah.
And they don't understand why. And there's many reasons why that can happen. But if it's a consistent pattern of good people that you enjoy doing those things, there more than likely is something that we haven't looked at yet that is detracting them. It's a behavior that isn't conducive for them anymore. And I have so much compassion and empathy for everyone that is the ones having those behaviors that are erratic. And whether it was from a place of urgency like yours or impatience like mine, I completely agree with you. I can look back and I feel as if I had a lot of friends, a lot of ex-girlfriends who were the people that were probably closest to me or spent the most time with me, I believe realized like they can never be enough for me because nothing ever was. And it wasn't about them, it was about me. And I think they got to the point where they realized they can't function as themselves if they're around me.
Wow.
And I feel like that really is the root of it. This woman that wanted to shadow you for this, she realized she can't function as herself around you. And so it's less about you. It's more about her honoring herself in that moment.
Which is really brave.
Which is amazing.
And I like looking back, like I cheer her on. Like that's exactly what I would recommend to anyone in this situation.
Exactly.
Which is so trippy because I'm like, damn. Like if I could go back, like I wouldn't have wanted her to change a damn thing. Like I love that she did that because that was so confusing at the time and it stuck with me. And now I can understand, like, wow, I understand why she did that. I can look at everything with more objectivity and say, I was not easy to be around. Yeah. And she not only like, you know, there were peaks because, you know, when you're someone like this, when you're happy, everyone's happy. But when you're not happy, everybody is not happy. Everybody feels it. It's like your energy is like a contagion that spreads through the whole room. And if you're like that, it's just being aware of people, if you have a pattern, like Cam said, of people who feel like you're really vibing, you're really great friends, everything's going well, and then they just kind of ghost you. Or they just slow fade like what she did to me. Or you just stop hearing from them. It's like if you relate to what I'm saying and you notice that pattern, it may be time to look at it more closely.
Most definitely. And that really feels like the most difficult part of the healing journey.
Yeah.
It's realizing the damage that your unhealed self did to so many. And it feels like a level of grief almost that must be shed for any version of ourselves that wish we can go back and change it.
Yeah.
And realize that's just not possible. And for me personally, it literally took me understanding from a soul's perspective, that we really choose all of our relationships and that they're big lessons for us. And this healing journey is part of why we're on this floating rock, to go through these things, to learn these lessons in the form of experiences like this with people. And some are, we're the teachers, and some we're the students.
Yeah.
And the teachers aren't always just, making it easy on you, to say the least. Oftentimes the opposite. That's where the lesson comes in. And yeah, it's quite confronting when you finally look at it. And it makes a whole lot of sense why most people spend decades refusing to look at it, unaware. But
It's painful.
it's very painful.
It's painful.
But having compassion for oneself, being the person that they know of potentially have hurt others, is the only way through.
And accepting that that is true. Like back, years ago when I was in college, I'm not that old, wasn't that long ago. I'm acting like I'm 80 years old or something. But back when I was in college, I feel like I would not have been able to see in any way, shape, or form the damage I was doing. I was too in it.
Exactly.
I was way too in it.
And when you're in it, the people that have been harmed by you, they know they can't pull you out of it.
They know.
They know there's no sentence, there's
They can't see it.
there's no text, there's no long hug, there's nothing that person outside of you can do to pull you out.
Yeah.
And so the best thing they can do is just give you the space.
Spin out of the orbit. Just spin out of the orbit and let the other person go through what they need to go through. And
yeah.
You were going to say something?
I was about to say, I really feel like a huge topic recently have been people going no contact.
Yeah.
With friends, family, past relationships, coworkers, whatever it may be.
Should we save this for our next episode?
That may be good.
Yeah, okay. Well,
but that stems from this.
Let's leave it on a cliffhanger because I'm over here like, we've been out here an hour and 10 minutes. So
what an emotional one. What a great one.
But you know what? We're going to run it back like immediately and talk about no contact. So if that's interesting to you, then you know where to find us, y'all. I really appreciate everybody for sticking in for this one. I feel we covered a lot of very important, pretty profound ground in this one.
Some deep stuff.
And I'm very grateful to you for everything that you shared and that you inspired in me to bring to the table and emote. And I really did not see that coming, as always, but I embraced it. And here we are. So we're very grateful for you. Thank you for being here, for witnessing us and witnessing yourself through the reflection of us as mirrors to you. And we hope that above all, you are gentle with yourself. You give yourself an outpouring of love and compassion and spaciousness after this. Go on a nice long walk or take a nice bath or eat your favorite meal or get your favorite ice cream or whatever makes you feel like you are bountiful and abundant and safe and enough right here as you are. Allow this to be your sign that whatever you were waiting for, I'll wait until Friday to eat this like little marshmallow. I love these marshmallows right now from a freaking grocery store. So I like eat these marshmallows. And I'm like, I was going to wait to eat these marshmallows, but I want to just treat myself with a damn marshmallow before that. So whatever that is for you, please go and treat yourself after this episode. Be kind to yourself. Create space in the day to feel anything that came up during this one, because I know that it was quite profound and a lot covered. Yeah. But above all,
Be gentle with yourself, and we love you.
You are loved and enough exactly as you are.
Bye,
Thank you so much for
y'all.
making all this way. Love y'all. Peace.
Bye.